Welcome to A Blaze for Christ, homilies to set your heart on fire with love for Jesus Christ. My name is Father Joseph Gill, priest of the Diocese of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and today is the graduation homily for 2022. My dear graduates, this is the time of year when you receive all sorts of cards and plaques from very well-meaning family and friends that have slogans that look like they were ripped from motivational posters. You know, slogans like, "You can do it," or "If you believe it, you can achieve it," or, "Go out and change the world." So here I am to tell you the unvarnished truth. And the truth is this: you can't do it. You're not smart enough. You're not talented enough. You can't change the world by yourself. But God can. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to put anybody down here. You all are great. You're wonderful people. You have many gifts and talents indeed. But the challenges you're going to face as you go on to high school, college, and beyond are far greater than anything that you have the ability to overcome. But these challenges are not bigger than God. And this is what we have to remember, that without God, we're nothing. But with God, we can do all things. Consider the example of the men from Scripture. There's this great story of Moses, who is fleeing Egypt because he had been caught in murder. And he goes up and he ends up working as a shepherd, and he ends up encountering God in this burning bush. And so God gives this man this task of going back into Egypt and setting his people free, bringing them out of Egypt and freeing them from 450 years of slavery. But remember, Moses is a murderer who apparently also has a stuttering problem, so he can't speak well. So he naturally, when he hears this challenge, Moses steps back and he says, Lord, I'm not the right person for this. Choose someone else. So what does God say? Does God say, "Oh, Moses, don't be so hard on yourself"? Does he say, "Come on, man, you got this. Look at your gifts and talents"? He doesn't. He doesn't say anything like that. Instead, he says, "Do not be afraid. I am with you." Or that other example in the book of Judges of Gideon, who's given the task by God to lead a very small army, 300 men, against an army of 150,000 people. And he's saying to himself, how in the world am I ever going to fight these Midianites? There are too many of them. They're too talented, too strong. Does God say, "Oh, no, look at your courage, look at your weapons, look at your armor"? No, he doesn't point out any of the gifts or talents or things that the Israelites have. All he simply says is, "Do not be afraid. I am with you." And there is the key. He chooses these people who were kind of a mess in their personal lives, Look at the apostles. We've got Peter, whose cowardice led him to deny Jesus 3 times. We've got St. Paul, who was a murderous zealot with a serious temper. We've got John, who was far too young, Matthew, who had a sinful past. And he chooses these people not because of their strengths, not because of their talents, but precisely because God can work best through weakness, through emptiness, when he has to say to us, "Do not be afraid, I am with you." You're going to face a myriad of challenges in high school and in college. You're going to face difficult classes. You're going to face peer pressure, the temptation to fit in, the temptation to give up your prayer life, maybe challenges with roommates or drama with friends, whatever it is. It's going to be a challenge. And if you try to tackle these challenges on your own strength, relying on your own gifts and talents, you're going to fall short. But with God, with him dwelling in you and with an intimate relationship with him, you can do all things fearlessly. Jesus makes that point in John's gospel. He says, "Without me, you can do nothing." Notice he doesn't say, "Without me, you can do a few things," or "Without me, you can get by." No, he says, "Without me, you can do nothing." We need him in us to have the courage and the strength to overcome whatever challenges we face. And St. Paul says that kind of on the flip side. He says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Through our intimate union with him through the sacraments, through prayer, through living the moral life, through a life oriented towards him and towards his glory, that's where we find our strength, not relying on our own talents, our own gifts, our own abilities. And so, my friends, as you prepare to go forth from this safe zone, to graduate, to enter into the world, I'm here to tell you the absolute truth. And the truth is this: you can't do it, but God can. And so the fact is that we'll never be good enough, we'll never be talented enough or strong enough to overcome all the challenges in our life. But if we have God, we have all we need. And so trust him when he says to you, "I am with you. Do not be afraid."